what I think.
Moonjumper here, celebrating my 20th full episode of Who Cares What I Think. I have over 40 plus videos on the channel, episodes and sub-episodes, but this is my 20th full episode, and with that milestone, I have an announcement. Are you ready? Here it is. I am now on Rumble. Did you feel that vibration? Yes, I am now on Rumble, and you can find my channel at rumble.com/moonjumperreviews, WCWIT, as in Who Cares What I Think. That's rumble.com/moonjumperreviews, WCWIT. Wickwit, I guess, I don't know. Or if you're on Rumble, you can just type in Moonjumper Reviews into the search bar, or Who Cares What I Think will also get you there. Be aware that on Rumble you have to pull down this little tab and click on channels, not videos, but channels, which is a little annoying, but anyway. Then type in Moonjumper Reviews. You see two choices come up. Moonjumper Reviews, Who Cares What I Think, or Moonjumper Reviews, WCWIT. I guess it doesn't really matter, it's the same thing, but I'd really prefer you go to this one, Moonjumper Reviews, Who Cares What I Think. It just looks nicer. I've got the title, I've got the banner. I tend not to make my guest enter through the garage. You know, I'd rather them enter through the nice, lovely front door. Although the wonky thing is that the darn garage page is internally searchable, and the pretty front door appears to not be internally searchable. Setting this thing up was kind of weird, not very user-friendly. You kind of end up with two of them, which is annoying. Rumble is still trying to work out their tech. It's still very primitive compared to YouTube, but they are building. It is going to get there. In fact, I talked to one of their technicians via email, and he told me that they were working on a way to hide the page that you don't want people to see, and he said that the, let's call it the main page, will soon be internally searchable as well. That's just a growing pain that they are working on, which will be good because I want people to subscribe to what I consider the main page, the lovely front door, not the garage. Anyway, I'd really appreciate it if you'd click over to my Rumble page, hit that pill-shaped subscription button, give me some positive rumbles. That's the little plus sign at the bottom of the video. That's the Rumble equivalent of a like. Unless you're using the Rumble iPhone app, which is a standard like or dislike, thumbs up or thumbs down. Strange that it's not consistent, and the iPhone app doesn't show the banner. Again, Rumble has a lot of technical kinks to work out, but that's why I think now is the time to jump on while they're small and building from scratch. And if you're already on Rumble, finding me for the first time, please, after you've subscribed and hit that little plus sign or thumbs up, whichever interface you happen to be using, I'd love it if you'd also click over and subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I very much want both channels to grow, and the YouTube channel is growing, very slowly but steadily, and that's thanks to all of y'all. I really do appreciate it. Now, to all my liberal friends, I've spent a lot of my life in and around the arts. I majored in both music and film, for God's sakes, even though I've been more of a working man in my professional life, but I stay very involved in the arts, so I do have a lot of liberal friends, even down here in Texas. So to my liberal friends, I love you. Before you lose your minds, yell at the sky, and cross me off your Christmas card list, I actually did not open a Rumble account as some kind of defiant political statement. My YouTube channel isn't going anywhere. I'm going to keep posting to both as long as both platforms will have me. You know, there's always a question with Google, right? Whether anyone even slightly to the right of Mao, even the most moderate voices, are going to be allowed to remain on the platform. It's not guaranteed, especially as elections loom. You know, I mean, that is something to consider. You do want to have a backup if somebody decides to nuke your channel just because, you know, they didn't like who you voted for. I don't think that's going to happen. But, you know, you don't even have to be nervous about it at Rumble. I mean, if you are a die-hard liberal Democrat, Rumble will welcome you with open arms. It's not a concern over there. But that's not the reason I'm doing this. The reason I'm doing this, as I just alluded, is pure logistics for my show, for who cares what I think. On YouTube, I am a teeny tiny tadpole, not even in a big pond, but in a vast ocean of 2 billion users. At present, my YouTube channel's growing, but I've got a ways to go before I can qualify for monetization. You need so many thousands of subscribers and watch hours. I'm working on it. Actually had a video that went a little viral and tripled my subscriber count in 3 days. Still tiny, but hey. But Rumble, I discovered, you can monetize right away. Well, hell, why not? Rumble presents a potential opportunity for a teeny tiny little channel like mine, a little guy, to get in on the ground floor, find the elevator, and the elevator actually works. Now, the building is only 5 stories tall. YouTube is this gleaming skyscraper where the elevator doesn't even bother coming down to the ground floor anymore. The big YouTubers are using the helicopter pad now. But the Rumble building is very quietly adding news stories on top, stacking them one after the other. And the elevator is open in the lobby. That's why I'm doing it. And I know some people will say, oh, Rumble, that's a bunch of fringe lunatics. No, not anymore. Do you not remember YouTube when it first started 15, 20 years ago, whatever it was, early 2000s? It was nothing but fringe weirdos in between cat videos. That's what YouTube was. Now it's this mainstream juggernaut, but it's not untouchable. Pay attention, folks. Rumble is beginning to create rumbling tremors along the fault lines of Silicon Valley. Facebook is in freefall. No monopoly is ever permanent, especially when you deliberately, on purpose, go out of your way to ban half of your own customers. When did that become a business model? Whose bright idea was that? Although it appears to be the prevailing business model these days. You've all heard the memes. Hey Nike, you do know that Republicans wear sneakers too. Hey Hollywood, you do know that middle America out there in flyover country, they watch movies too. Because when you purposely chase away half your customers, you no longer have those customers, and some little guy is going to come along and say, hey, I got a platform, I got a similar product, I'd love to have you. Why don't you come over here? Big tech all smug and woke tells half the country, go away, we don't like you, bunch of smelly Walmart shoppers, go build your own internet. Rumble says, okay, good idea, buddy, thanks for the suggestion. And suddenly Rumble's become the home, or at least another outlet, of major mainstream personalities, both center-right and center-left, moderate voices who just don't want to be censored. And yes, that is a bit of a political statement, but it's also factual. In fact, here's a completely random channel I just found on Rumble called This Southern Girl Can. I have no idea who she is. I'm not plugging her channel. I'm just exploring here. I haven't watched any of her videos. I have no idea how she votes. I could care less, but it appears to be a cooking and crafts channel. She teaches you how to bake cherry pies and make Easter wreaths. Oh my God, what a radical! She's baking pies! Folks, relax. Rumble is going mainstream. It's going to take time, but eventually, maybe sooner than we think, YouTube is going to have a major competitor on its hands. In fact, the interesting thing, I didn't know this until today, is that they're not even, Rumble's not even a Johnny-come-lately. They've actually been around since 2013. I mean, that's almost a decade. So, you know, they've had time to start to build that infrastructure, their own infrastructure, and it's only now that they're having this huge success that they're growing by leaps and bounds and having to play catch up. So yeah, YouTube's got a competitor on the horizon here. And as far as who's on the platform, it's not just weirdos and wingnuts. And there are plenty of those on YouTube, by the way. It's just that YouTube tends to censor only one side. I consider myself pretty moderate. I am a center-right Reagan conservative, but if you called me a classic or old school liberal, I wouldn't be at all offended by that. But for me, it's really not about the politics. I don't care who you voted for. That's your business, but I would still love to have you watch my videos and subscribe to my channel. I welcome you with open arms, even if we disagree, especially if we disagree. Let's talk about it, civilly, of course. There's no reason we can't be polite to one another, and I'm honored to have you as a subscriber. For me, politics aside, it's simply an opportunity to grow the channel with a smaller platform on the verge of a meteoric rise, where monetization is at least an option, which on YouTube it's just not, at least not currently. Maybe if I was in a position to post daily or at least several times a week like the big guys do, of course my channel would grow faster, but at present I'm just not in a position to be able to do that. If Who Cares cares what I think was breaking the internet, obviously that would change, but for now, I have a job, other projects that are pressing, and it usually takes me at least a couple of weeks, usually more, to put together a nice looking quasi-professional video for free. I tend to average 1 or 2 a month with no specific schedule. I figure if I can't do quantity, hopefully I can at least do quality, knowing that the growth of the channel is going to be slow. I accept that, but it would still be nice to have some means of someone dropping a little change into the hat after I have spent weeks putting together a nice looking, nice sounding, well-researched video, even if it's a minuscule amount. Hey, it took several weeks to accumulate, but hey, look at that, I made a little money on that video, $1.25, whatever. It's an acknowledgement, a nice little moral victory, not to mention, hey, money is tight right now. An extra 30, 50 bucks at the end of the month, if that's even doable, that don't hurt anyone. So let's talk monetization. When I started this channel over 2 years ago, I said in my very first video, episode 1, a review of Underworld Blood Wars, I said at the time I was not looking to try to monetize the channel. That was not absolute. I did say never say never. I did say that I might consider monetization at some point in the future. But I didn't want to do it back then because, quite frankly, I was a little nervous when it came to issues such as fair use. What exactly is this ill-defined standard we call fair use, which is encoded into US copyright law, allowing one to legally show a brief clip or image of a copyrighted work for the purpose of critical or educational commentary. But even the law can seem rather vague. What does brief mean? Is a 10-second clip okay, but an 11-second clip not okay? And if you ask that question to YouTube, don't expect a straight answer, and I get it. They will tell you, we are big supporters of fair use, which is vital if you're doing movie and TV reviews, but they will never tell you what that means. That said, one thing I do appreciate about YouTube, by the way, disclaimer, this is not legal advice, I am not a lawyer, I am not responsible for what you do with your channel. I'm talking just about me, who cares what I think. YouTube has a very sophisticated means of checking your fair use material electronically, allowing me to correct potential issues before I publish my video publicly. It's not foolproof, I want to be clear about that, but it's a great tool that Rumble doesn't seem to have. I upload a video, YouTube runs an automatic scan, a copyright check, something they have developed in direct cooperation with the big studios, and generally, as long as I am acting in good faith, where fair use actually means fair use, keeping clips brief and relevant to legitimate critical and or educational commentary on the copyrighted work, or in a case in which the copyrighted work may offer some kind of additional insight into another discussion that you are having, like quoting from a book to punctuate your point. It's usually not been a problem. YouTube will give me the green light, or if on rare occasion there is an issue, I'll get a little warning before I post it. Psst, hey, that little clip you use might be going a few seconds too long. You might want to trim that back a bit. And I appreciate that. I consider that quite fair and reasonable, both on the part of YouTube and the major studios they work with the caveat that there's going to be some studios that are more persnickety than others. And after you've been doing it a couple of years, you start to pick up on which studios those are, because YouTube scans tell you, which is what makes it a great tool. For the most part, you learn what to expect with YouTube, and it's allowed me to become more comfortable with the prospect of monetizing. And if everyone else on YouTube is doing it, why not me? Except for the fact that I don't have enough subscribers. People take my title way too seriously. No one cares what I think. Of course, that also tends to be the case off YouTube. But anyway, enter Rumble, the up-and-coming YouTube alternative where you can monetize right away if you choose. But for me, Rumble was more of an unknown quantity. I love the fact that, within reason, Rumble won't censor what I say or what I question. And I do find profound value in that. We all should. Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, Tory, Labor, or complete independent. We should all value free speech and the opportunity to engage civilly with someone we disagree with. What's the point of preaching to the choir? The choir already knows the song. Free speech is the most basic foundation of a liberal democracy. It is not reasonable, for example, for the biggest video sharing site in the world to all but forbid discussion on the biggest global disaster since World War II, and that's even before Ukraine happened, and you're basically not allowed to mention it? You're not allowed to ask questions? I don't care your political party. Does that sound reasonable to you. What is it the drinker calls it? The unspecified virus of unknown origin? But, that said, while Rumble doesn't restrict what you say, I could understand if Rumble was stricter and more cautious when it came to what you show vis-a-vis fair use. Remember, you've got an incestuous coalition of big tech, big media, big studios, big corporate, big pharma, big bureaucracy, and the entire Democratic Party, all pretty much one and the same, by the way, who would love any excuse to shut Rumble down if they could. And not surprisingly, their terms and conditions related to copyright do read stricter than YouTube's. So I wasn't quite sure what that meant. Is a movie and TV review program like mine even feasible on Rumble? So I emailed Rumble asking them to please explain their policies regarding fair use in a way that's understandable to an average Joe like me, fully expecting that I wouldn't even receive a reply, or at best I'd get a polite non-answer to a question I didn't ask, right YouTube? To my pleasant surprise, I received a very nice, very cordial reply from a real person who welcomed me to Rumble and explained to me in a very straightforward manner what their fair use policies were. And I won't say what he told me, you do your own research. But suffice to say, yes, they're strict, but not at all unreasonable, and, well, I'll just leave it at that. Bottom line, fair use is welcome on Rumble, which allows me to review a film or any form of artistic expression at a deeper analytical, educational level. I like to talk about the historical significance of the film, its cultural significance, its political impact, how it fits or doesn't fit into the canon if it's part of a greater franchise. I went to school and I studied these things, so it's kind of important to me. I said in my very first episode of Who Cares What I Think that film is a modern form of literature, and that's how you have to treat it, as literature. So that's what I try in good faith to do. I'm probably not going to be monetized on YouTube anytime soon. Well, maybe with something like Patreon or PayPal, but I'm talking about on the platform itself. I just don't have enough subscribers currently, but Rumble provides that opportunity on day one. Therefore, I am announcing today that I am taking the first steps towards monetization on Rumble, and I'm looking into things like Patreon or Locals or other crowdfunding sources for my YouTube channel, or both. Actually, I believe Locals is owned by Rumble. They're tied together. And I think some people just use PayPal. I may do that. I don't know. I'm going to have to look into all that. But here's the thing. As far as my older videos, most of them have a disclaimer stating that this video is not being monetized. I did that because I was nervous about fair use. But as I just mentioned, I'm becoming more comfortable with that now. Nonetheless, those disclaimers already exist. I can't exactly extract them from the video, so I'm going to continue to honor them. I'm not going to submit those videos for direct monetization. I'm not going to add any Patreon or other crowdfunding links in the descriptions of those specific videos. Not on YouTube, not on Rumble. I just feel that's the ethical thing to do. Now, that said, consider this fair notice, fair notification. Consider this an amendment to those disclaimers. That does not mean that going forward I won't accept a donation for the channel or for myself or for future videos. I reserve the right to do so, but I won't directly monetize any past videos which already have that disclaimer. There's actually a few of them that don't, which I could monetize on Rumble if I choose to and if they accept it. In fact, I am already proud to announce that my X-1 review video officially became the first episode of Who Cares What I Think to be approved for monetization on Rumble. In fact, as I am recording this, there are now 9 of my videos now approved for monetization on Rumble, none of which had that disclaimer. So I'll link those down below too if you wouldn't mind clicking over to Rumble, suffer through a brief ad, I have nothing to do with the ad, it's random, and then watch an awesome educational video about the 1950s radio drama X-1, a review and analysis of Gene Roddenberry's Forgotten Genesis 2 trilogy of TV movies from the 70s, and also several Star Trek related videos as well. And in doing so, you're theoretically throwing me a penny or two, or a fraction of a penny, a millionth of a penny, whatever it is, I don't know, but That's a fraction of a penny I didn't have yesterday, and it didn't cost you anything but your time, so I sure appreciate it. By the way, when you do watch a video on Rumble, be sure to check the quality settings. All of my videos are in HD, at least 1080p or better. But here's another area where I think Rumble is still trying to work out their tech. For some reason, their player seems to default to 480 standard def. Kind of annoying. Make sure it's set to 1080p so you have a nice, clear picture. And again, I talked to somebody at Rumble, and they told me that, again, this is something they're working on. At present, they have so many people starting to flood onto Rumble, it's a bandwidth issue. So 480p is the current default, but you can set it higher. Set it to 1080p so you get a nice, clear picture. By the way, there's something I want to make people aware of. A lot of people may not know this. You do not have to watch YouTube or Rumble on your little cell phone or even laptop. For years, I do most of my YouTube viewing on my lovely big screen HD television via Roku. YouTube and Rumble both have Roku apps as well as on other streaming devices such as, Amazon Fire, what have you. You can watch Who Cares What I Think on your glorious big screen TV, and it is so much better. Just keep your phone next to you so you can leave comments on the videos you watch, but watch them on your big screen TV. It's awesome. But anyway, again, those old videos which do have the disclaimer, this video is not being monetized, will be exempt from direct monetization on both platforms. That will be my policy. But going forward, and it may be selectively at first, we'll see how it goes. I'm playing this by ear, but I'm going to begin monetizing current and future episodes of Who Cares What I Think, and I'd appreciate your support on either platform. From deep in the heart of Texas, I am Moonjumper, and now you can find me on YouTube and Rumble. Again, that's www.rumble.com/moonjumperreviews, WCWIT, as in Moonjumper Reviews. Who cares what I think? God bless you, and see y'all next time.
X minus 1. Tonight's story, The Man in the Moon.
Who cares what I think?